You know, we tend to think of history in terms of these huge, sweeping stories of conquest and glory. But sometimes, the really big stories, the ones that change everything, are hidden in these tiny, shocking details. And today, we're going to piece one of those stories together.
Okay, let's just jump right in with this little fragment from an ancient text. It's just 3 characters: king, shot, shoulder. That's it. It's so abrupt, so violent, and it's basically a massive clue that something has gone very, very wrong with the way the world is supposed to work.
So for this explainer, we're going to be like historical detectives. Our main clue is this ancient text that's kind of broken and hard to read. But hidden inside these fragments is this incredible story about a single moment that completely shattered an entire belief system.
To really get how shocking an arrow in the shoulder was, we first have to understand what it meant to be the king before all this happened. I mean, we're talking about the power, the divinity, the whole cosmic order that was literally resting on this one guy's shoulders.
And at the very heart of the king's power was this idea, the mandate of heaven. See, the king wasn't just some politician. He was the Son of Heaven. He was this sacred link between the gods and everyone on earth. His authority was supposed to be absolute, universal, and holy. In theory, at least.
So what happened? Where did this absolute power go? Well, the whole thing breaks in 771 BCE. During the Western Zhou period, the king's power was real. It was centralized. But then, total disaster. The capital gets sacked, the whole court has to flee for their lives, and in that moment, their authority is just shattered. Our story picks up right in the middle of that chaos.
And this brings us to the harsh new reality for the Son of Heaven. He is no longer this all-powerful ruler in his palace. He's basically a refugee in his own kingdom.
So the story in our ancient text kicks off with this move. King Ping has to relocate the capital. But he isn't marching there at the head of a conquering army. Oh no. He's being escorted. He's being protected by his own vassals. This isn't a power move. It's a desperate act of survival.
And the signs of this weakness were everywhere. The king was now totally dependent on his subjects for an army. He's handing out titles to lands that he doesn't even control anymore. The source text actually nails it with this one crucial phrase, Zhong You Feng Buk, which basically means real political power now belongs to the regional lords. The king was a symbol, not a commander.
And this right here is the central conflict of the whole era. The theory, the divine mandate of heaven, it's still officially the rule book. But the reality on the ground, it could not be more different. The gap between what the king is supposed to be and what he actually is has become a giant canyon.
You know what they say, nature abhors a vacuum. And so does politics. With the king, the cat in this case, so incredibly weak, you can bet the mice are going to come out to play. And these mice, they have armies.
All of a sudden, the old rules are just gone. The most powerful lords and dukes realize, hey, there's nobody to stop us. They start ignoring the king, they start building up their own massive armies, and they start fighting each other for land and power. The whole kingdom just dissolves into a total free-for-all.
So, who were the main players in this new game? To keep it simple, you can think of them like this. You've got the state of Zheng, they're the defiant ones, the ones who are going to openly challenge the king. Then there's Jin, the expansionist. They're just constantly fighting to get bigger. And then there's Qi, the ambitious one, who's got their eye on becoming the unofficial leader of everybody else. This is where the real power is now.
So you might be wondering, why couldn't the king just put these guys back in their place? Well, it really came down to simple military math. The royal army, which was once the biggest and baddest force in the land, was now just completely dwarfed by the combined strength of his own subjects. He just didn't have the muscle anymore. So, the stage is set. You've got a weak king who is desperate to prove he's still in charge, and you have all these powerful, defiant warlords who know for a fact that he isn't. Something has to give. And finally, King Huan, who came after King Ping, decides he has had enough. He is tired of being ignored, tired of the constant humiliation. He decides he needs to make an example out of someone and fast.
He picks his target, Zheng, the state that's been the most openly defiant of them all. He scrapes together what's left of the royal army, and he marches to war. This is it. This is his one shot to reestablish royal dominance.
And this isn't just a battle over some territory. This is a battle for an idea. I mean, if the king wins, he might just be able to restore the sacredness of his rule. But if he loses, well, the whole idea of the Son of Heaven could be broken for good.
And he loses. Badly. The text says the royal army was completely routed, And then it delivers that final, devastating blow with those 3 simple characters. The king was shot in the shoulder.
Now, this wasn't just a military defeat. This was a full-blown spiritual crisis. The Son of Heaven is supposed to be untouchable, sacred. The thing is, gods aren't supposed to bleed. But an ordinary arrow, fired by an ordinary soldier from one of his own vassal states, just proved that he was flesh and blood, just like everybody else. The magic was gone. Forever.
After that arrow hit, there was no going back. The old system was dead and buried, and a new, much more cynical order was about to rise up from its ashes.
The king wasn't overthrown, though. Now, that would have been too messy. Instead, he was just kept around, kind of like a holy relic in a museum. The real power shifted to these guys called the hegemons. They were the strongest warlords, and they came up with a very clever new system. And this is how they did it. It's a cynical but honestly brilliant playbook. Step 1, you build up the strongest army. Step 2, you make alliances. Step 3, and this is the genius part, you claim that everything you're doing is to honor the king. Then you use the king's sacred authority like a rubber stamp to boss everyone else around, while you're the one actually running the whole show.
Ultimately, the story of the king being shot in the shoulder, it marks this fundamental shift from a world that was supposed to be based on sacred, divine right to a world that was governed by pure, pragmatic military power. Might, not the mandate, was now right.
And it all leaves us with this huge question, one that goes way beyond ancient China. When the symbols and the beliefs that hold a whole system together are shattered, what rushes in to fill that void? Is it just raw power? Is it new ideas? Is it just chaos? Or is it something else entirely?